Travis, I wanted a review on the Fortitude, not on the Fort, dude.
Really? Hey, I'm the king of my castle. Hey, can I do it in the fort?
No.
The Benjamin Fortitude is finally out. A regulated, multi-shot, $300 PCP, fully shrouded, extremely quiet. It's got a lot of features going for it. The first thing you're going to notice when you pick up the Fortitude is how incredibly light it is. Without a scope, it's about 5.3 pounds. And that gives you a lot of options for optics. You can put as heavy a scope as you want on here and still have a really lightweight package that you can carry all day out in the field. Or you could put something really light on it, like a 2 to 7 by 32 Hawk, which is a great lightweight compact scope, and then you'd have something that just is a featherweight air gun. The one we've got packaged with it is a 4 to 16 AO scope by Centerpoint, and I've really been impressed with this scope as we've been testing it here. Really clear and great tracking. And this scope's kind of in the middle. It gives you a good range for hunting. 4 to 16 is about all you need for most hunting and target shooting for that matter. And it's not too heavy, keeps the package down. Now, one of the ways that Crosman Benjamin is able to bring you a regulated PCP at this price point is they're using a lot of parts from earlier guns. The stock comes off of the Maximus. It's basically exactly a Maximus stock, so it's really lightweight, it's a tough synthetic. It's a bit hollow sounding, but that's part of what keeps the weight down. You can see it's got sling studs mounted at the front and back, so you can put a sling on that really easily. The shroud is very similar to what is found on the Benjamin Marauder, but this only has 3 baffles instead of the 7 baffles of the Marauder. But because it's regulated and because it's putting out lower velocities, lower pressures, it's still really quiet. And you get a little bit longer barrel than on the Marauder. You've got a 135cc air tank, and it's really astonishing how many shots you get out of such a small tank. But the good thing about a small tank like this, a small air cylinder, is that it's really easy to fill up with a hand pump. It fills up to 3,000 psi, but it takes so few pumps to get there that you won't really feel it. And because it's regulated, you don't have to fill it all the way up to 3,000. You can fill it up to 2,500, which is where you really kind of start to fill the hand pump. And at that point, you're still going to get a lot of shots, and it's going to be really easy to fill. And that keeps the total cost of getting into PCPs down, because a hand pump's pretty affordable. Now here you've got a similar breech to what's on the Marauder pistol, the P-Rod, or on the Benjamin Marauder. It takes a 10-shot magazine, and this is the same magazine that's found on the Marauder. It was used for the Umarex Gauntlet. It's one of the most reliable magazines around. It doesn't hold a ton of shots. I mean, 10 shots isn't a ton, but they're so cheap, around $15, that you can get a handful of them, and they're absolutely reliable feed, smooth, easy to load, a really good magazine. Here you've got a dovetail rail for your optics. It's a bolt action. Now, if there's one complaint we really have about the gun, is that this action is pretty stout. It takes a bit of effort to pull back. That's just part of how they have to get the energy out of such a compact platform here. And it kind of breaks in a little bit as you use it. But it is a stout cocking gun. The trigger is taken over right from the Maximus. And so it's a usable trigger. It's pretty stout too. We'll do some trigger testing later on and tell you more about it. One of the things that I like the most about the Benjamin PCPs is this. They give you a Foster Quick Disconnect fill port here. All you have to do is hook your hose up there, right on there, fill it up. It's so much easier than keeping track of fill probes. I wish every manufacturer would go to that system. Well, that's enough talking for right now. Let's take it to the range and see how it shoots. Okay, I'm not going to show you all, 150 plus shots that I took between the 177 and the 22 caliber. But look at the chart and we'll go over some of the numbers. Let's look at the 177 first. If we cut it off at 75 shots, then that gives us a high at 870 feet per second, a low of 828 feet per second, for an average of 845 feet per second. And that gives us a standard deviation of 8.85, an extreme spread of 42, and an average foot-pound energy of 16.65. And that's with the 10.5 grain Crossman Premier Ultra Mags. So a pretty heavy pellet here. Now if we look at the 22 caliber, if we cut it off again about 77 shots, then we get a high of 812 feet per second, a low of 746 feet per second, for a standard deviation of 16.16, an average muzzle velocity of 790 feet per second, with an average foot-pounds of 18.6 feet per second. Now these numbers are with a brand new gun. Regulators tend to break in over time. I imagine that the extreme spread and the standard deviation will tighten up quite a bit. You know, the first 30 shots with the 22 had an extreme spread of, or standard deviation of under 4. They were about 3.7. So there's good consistency here. I think as the gun breaks in, it'll get even better. The one thing you will notice is that it's not extremely high powered. You're getting a lot of shots, but in 177 it's about right. But in 22 it's a little bit lower than you might like, but it's still fine for hunting most small game. Now, let's take a look at the sound meter and see how loud this thing is. The 177 and the 22 Fortitudes both registered a high of 85.8 decibels, and they're really quiet guns. I mean, definitely backyard friendly. We've got the Benjamin Fortitude in 22 caliber. A Southern gunner in his review showed that it wasn't very pellet picky, so that's what we're going to try out today. We'll do 10-shot groups of 5 different pellets, and we'll see how it does. First one we're going to do is the H&N Sniper Lights. We're going to do the top left-hand corner. Well, that's a pretty good group. That last one went a little high and left, but I'm happy with that. Okay, let's do the JSB Exact Heavies. These are an 18.13 grain pellet. We're going to do the top right target. Not too bad. The one that went off to the right, I think, was on me. The one that dropped to the left was not me, I don't think, here. Okay, we're going to do the Barracuda match. This is a 5.51 grain, or a head size, and these are a 21 grain pellet. We're going to do the bottom left-hand corner. Well, about half of them went into a tiny hole. That may be a head size issue or something else. Last one we're going to try is the JSB 15.89s. And we're going to do the, oh no, I've got two more, don't I? This one will be the bottom right-hand corner. And that's 10. The last pellet is the Predator GTO. This is a lead-free pellet in 11.75 grains. The middle target, of course. Okay, that's 10, and that is a great group. The one flyer is totally on me. Giddy up. We tested a number of the usual suspects, and the two that stood out the most in this test were the H&N Sniper Lights. You know, 8 or 9 out of 10 can be covered by a dime. This one opened it up a bit, as did that one. The GTOs were the ones that did the best. Again, 9 out of 10 easily covered by a dime at 35 yards. One of them got away from me, and I know that one actually was me. I think that was the first shot, and I remember pulling it. So really a really good group. 10, you know, in about half an inch there. One that we didn't test in the accuracy testing, but that I tested with the chronograph was the JSB RS. They're a 13.43 grain pellet, and they were also really accurate. So those are the three that I'd start with the Benjamin Fortitude in 22 caliber. Now, in 177, I didn't get a chance to do much pellet testing, but it did really like the brown box 10.5 grain pellets. They're in the tin, they're the Crosman Premier Ultra Mags, and they got really good groups out of that. Now, like I said, the trigger on the Fortitude is the same that's found on the Maximus, on the Discovery. Let's see how it breaks here. £5 pounds, 4 ounces. £5 pounds, 7.5 ounces. And 5 pounds, 9 ounces. For an average of 5 pounds, 7 ounces. Now, every Fortitude that we've tested has broken at about 5.5 pounds. So that's what you can expect out of the box. And it's not adjustable, but I did find one Fortitude that was breaking at 7 pounds, right on the money. This was the stiffest trigger we found, but what would you say if I told you I could get it down to under 2 pounds? £1 pound, 2.4 ounces. £1 pound, 3.8 ounces. £1 pound, 2.1 ounces. Now, if you want to know how to modify your Fortitude trigger so that it becomes virtually a match grade trigger with a really light first stage, a really crisp and clear break for the second stage at around a pound and a half, you're going to have to watch our Essentials video. At the end of this video, we'll have up at the end a link to click on the essentials, and we'll show you how to modify that. Again, the trigger's not adjustable, but you can change it to make it work like that. Now, to sum up, for $300, you are getting a heck of a lot of gun in the Benjamin Fortitude. It's regulated, it's fully shrouded, it's really quiet, it's accurate, you've got great magazines that are dirt cheap, and it's so light that you just will never get tired carrying this around. You've got a Foster fill port, and the shrouded barrel is floated, giving you a lot of accuracy that's not going to change with temperature and different things like that. It's supported by a band here, but you can actually see, if you look down, you can see light all around there. So it is a floated barrel. So what's its biggest competition? The Umarex Gauntlet. Now, what are the main differences between the two? The Gauntlet is a husky, corn-fed boy here. This weighs 8.5 pounds. You put a scope on that and you're going to be looking around 10 pounds. That is a heavy gun to carry around in the field. The barrel on the Gauntlet's also floating, but it has no supports here, so it can, you can see it. It can move, and if you bump it too hard, it's going to knock your point of impact off, and you'll have to re-zero, which makes it not a great gun for dragging around in the brush, carrying around in the field all day. For sitting at a bench, it's just fine. But the supported barrel on the Fortitude and the lightweight, in my opinion, really overcome all of the disadvantages of the Gauntlet and make this a much better gun for hunting, for carrying around in the field. And if you're looking for that sort of a gun, you should definitely take a look at the Fortitude, because I think you'll really like it. If this video has been helpful to you, if you've liked it, then like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and make sure you check out the essentials on adjusting the trigger, and stay tuned for next time. Thanks for watching.
I'm a Fortitude in a fort, dude. I'm the king from the Rocky Mountains to the Ohio River. My pellet's bigger than yours,
That's
but
your final warning, Travis.
Oh, wait. Hey, is anybody else in here? Hello?